Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Thank you very much to Jamani Prabhu. Jayam Vishnu Pad Paramhamsa Parikracharya Ashtosh Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Charya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnu Pad Paramhamsa Parikracharya Ashtosh Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se ko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Naryam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayam Huradyet Nastaprai Subhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. So this morning we'll be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 1, Text 12. Na yasyadi antau madhyam cha swa paro nantaram bahi vishvasya muni yad yasmad vishvam cha tad ritam mahat na yasyadyanto madhyam cha swaparo nantaram bahi vishvasyam muni yadyasmad vishvam cha tadritam mahat na yasyadyanto madhyam cha swaparo nantaram bahi vishvasya muni yadyasmad vishvam cha tadritam mahat na yasyadyanto madhyam cha swaparo nantaram bahi vishvasya muni yadyasmad vishvam cha tadritam mahat.
Yasyadyanta madhyam cha. Oh. Swaparo nantaram bahi. Swaparo nantaram bahi. Vishwasya muni yadyasmad. Vishwasya muni yadyasmad.
Matthias Prabhu, would you like to chant?
Yasyadyanta madhyam cha. Swaparo nantaram bahi. Vishwasya muni yadyasmad. Vishwam chakratam mahat.
Anyone online would like to chant the verse?
Nayasya Gyantau Madhyam Cha Svaparon Antaram Bahihi Veshvasyam Muni Yadyasmat Veshvam Cha Tadritam Mahat.
Synonyms. Na, neither. Yasya, of whom? The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Adi, a beginning. Antau, end. Madhyam, middle. Cha, also. Swaha, own. Paraha, others. Na, nor. Antaram, inside. Bahi, outside. Vishvasya, of the whole cosmic manifestation. Amuni, all such considerations. Yat, whose form. Yasmat, from he who is the cause of everything. Vishvam, the whole universe. Cha, and. Tat, all of them. Ritam, truth. Mahat, very, very great. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has no beginning, no end, and no middle, nor does he belong to a particular person or nation. He has no inside or outside. The dualities found within this material world, such as beginning and end, mine and theirs, are all absent from the personality of the Supreme Lord. The universe, which emanates from him, is another feature of the Lord. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is ultimate truth, and he is complete in greatness. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is described in the Brahma Samhita 5.1. Those that would like to chant. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarna Karnam. Krishna, known as Govinda, is a supreme controller. He has an eternal, blissful, spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, for he is the prime cause of all causes. For the Lord's existence there is no cause, for he is the cause of everything. He is in everything. Madhyatatam idam sarvam. He is expanded in everything, but he is not everything. He is achintya beta beta, simultaneously one and different. That is explained in this verse. In the material condition, we have a conception of beginning, end, and middle. But for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are no such things. The universal cosmic manifestation is also the Virat Rupa that was shown to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, since the Lord is present everywhere and all the time, he is absolute truth and the greatest. He is complete in greatness. God is great, and how he is great is explained here. Om Agyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shlakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Nami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Shunyavad Paschatyajischarni Vancha Kalpatriyubhyascha Kripasandabhyevacha Patithanam Pavinabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So before I start, I'll tell a little bit about my time in Honolulu, Hawaii. So the second to the last day we were leaving, Maharaj wanted me to go do some sightseeing, check out what Hawaii is about, what the big fuss is about in Hawaii. So Bhakta Jason, he's a nice devotee from Portland. We met him in Portland. He went to Honolulu to help with the Rath Yatra there, as well as to have our association. And we went to several places. We went to this scenic viewpoint. I'm not sure. Maybe he's aspiring for Ashram Maharaj when Maharaj is able to. And Hawaii looks like a mystical place, The clouds are very low. There's a lot of green scenery.
What's very low?
The clouds? Yeah. And you can, it reminds you a little bit of, maybe what Satya Yuga could have been like. And as we were looking over the horizon, you kind of lose yourself in this view. And some of the devotees has described Waikiki Beach as a sannyas graveyard. So you can imagine the opportunity, the facilities for sense enjoyment there. And Maharaj was explaining that, if you don't want to work, you want to just live on the beach, you can, as nice weather, plenty of people to see. And then Bhakta Jason, he went on this hike with Kaimi before, the one that visited us. And I took the wrong type of shoes. I was wearing my slippers. And the root word for slippers is slip, right? So the bottom part of the hike, it was muddy. My legs, my dhoti, it was getting dirty. And then we took so many wrong turns, like 3 turns, And then the people before us, they were saying, you're going the wrong way. They were warning us. So we had to go back. And then finally we saw this little arrow carved on a tree. It was pointing to the right, so we took that path. And then we were able to find this little waterfall, It was really nice. The water was very clean. The water was clear. So we're able to clean ourselves a little bit with that, splash our face with that nice cold water. And on our way back, we decided to get some walking sticks, to prevent us from maybe falling or, leaning towards one side. And I almost made it to the bottom without slipping, And sure enough, I knew, as clumsy as I am, I'm going to slip. So I put my left foot forward, and I guess I put too much weight on it, and I slipped. My whole backside was muddy, and both of my feet, they were, in mud. So as I was walking, my feet just kept slipping out of my slippers. Even just walking normally was very difficult. So once we got to the bottom, I found some grass and I was able to dry my feet there. And then after that, we went to a devotee's restaurant. His name is Vaishnav Das Prabhu. And he has a restaurant called Maharaja's Foods. It's vegetarian, vegan, He has Lord Ramchandra deities right after you enter the restaurant. And he has about maybe 10 different preparations, 4 different sweets. And while we were on prasadam there, Bhakti Jason said, maybe we should wait till the sun sets. So we're also waiting for the sunset. It was nice. And then it's like 40 minutes away. But that hiking trail, it was near there. So we wanted to utilize our time. And then on our way back to the temple, all the washing machines were being used. And I had no set of clothes. So the morning after, I was in my gamcha, and I got Maharaj and I brought him to the temple room. And we asked Vaikuntha Prabhu, the acting temple president there, is it okay to attend Mangal Arati in my gamcha? And Vaikuntha Prabhu, he was making a joke that the Hawaiians, they influenced me, to dress like that, But Vaikuntha said, yeah, you can come. But I just stayed in the back. I didn't want to be a distraction. So our trip to Honolulu, it was nice. It was a lot of service. A big tree actually fell down and it hit 2 cars, but the damage was very minimal. And it missed Sergio, one of the brahmacharis there, car, by like a few centimeters. You couldn't even put your hand in between the car and the tree. It just missed it, So Sergio confirmed that there is Krishna. This was confirmation that Krishna is real. And yeah, the devotees in Honolulu, they're wonderful. You have a lot of nice association, and they're very serious. And then we got back Thursday evening, and Bhakta Aviral Prabhu kindly picked us up. Okay. So people speak about God and how great God is, but they don't really know. Srila Prabhupada would make this point. It's described that Krishna is greater than the greatest and smaller and can be smaller than the smallest. So to understand Krishna, Srila Prabhupada says it's a mystery. And Krishna's incarnations are unlimited. And the example that's given is that just like the waves of the ocean is coming, and there's so many waves, but if one were to sit on the sand and try to count the waves, it's impossible. So Krishna's incarnations are like that. It's limitless. But the Bhagavatam, it describes only the most important. Lord Nrsingadev, Lord Ramchandra, Vamanadev, like that. But it's concluded that Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam, that Krishna is the origin. And the example that's given is, for example, if you have many candles, 1,000 candles, they all have the same equal power of heat and light. And from one candle, you can light the other candles. But the very first candle, that is considered to be Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada was explaining that just because there's Krishna and then the immediate expansion is Balaram, that there's no difference, really. They're equally powerful. And sometimes people make the mistake that Krishna is also an incarnation, that Krishna is an incarnation of Vishnu. But that's not the proper understanding. Actually, Krishna is the origin of all of the incarnations. And Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. Krishna is the source of all material and spiritual worlds, and everything emanates from him, just like the verse today. And an interesting pastime is when Queen Kunti, she was saying, my dear Lord, you are inside and you are outside. You are all-pervading. You are present everywhere. Still, people cannot see you. And Srila Prabhupada, he describes that just like a father on stage, he's dressed up as a king. But the son in the audience, he doesn't recognize his father. So similarly, the devotees, we can see Krishna. We know how to perceive Krishna in the material world. But ordinary people, they cannot see. So Srila Prabhupada says we require to purify the eyes. I remember, just like on Halloween, people dress up. My dad, he doesn't really partake in these types of holidays. But one time he was outside with a mask, and I didn't know who he was. I was little. And then when he took off his mask, I could immediately understand, oh, this is my father, So Krishna is in front of us, but at the same time we need to have the eyes to see him. And most religions, they say that you can only see God in the next life, or if you attain the kingdom of God. But Srila Prabhupada taught us that Krishna is in our hearts. We don't need to wait till the next life. And Srila Prabhupada explained that this searching out for Krishna within the heart, this is known as meditation. In the Western world, people think meditation just, think of nothing, to become mindless, But yoga and meditation means to meditate on Krishna, to think of Krishna within the heart. And as a Vaishnav, we can perceive Krishna by the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, I'm the pure taste in water. I'm the original fragrance of the earth. So many wonderful verses. I am the light of the sun and the moon. So for a devotee, we can see Krishna everywhere. And also, at the time of death, Mityu Sarva Harashchaham. I was speaking to one devotee here. I'm not going to mention names. I don't know if he watched his class. But he's very concerned about his mother's health, Please pray for my mother. But we understand that we shouldn't ask anything from Krishna. We should ask, how can I do more service? How can I render more service? So for a devotee, even when death approaches, we understand that is Krishna. So where is the anxiety for the devotee, right? He can live happily in this world, and he can also leave this world without any regrets. So either living or dying, a devotee is not in anxiety. In Honolulu, I was distributing books at Waikiki. And Waikiki is a very bewildering place. The ocean is right there. The water is warm. But the people that I spoke to, most of them were visitors or on vacation. And I asked them, when you get back, what will you be doing? And they said, I have to go back to work. So it's a place to kind of get away from, either problems. But one person asked me, why are you here? And I said, we're here because we're visiting one of our temples in Honolulu. And then he asked me, so you're not here on vacation? I said, no, we're here for a preaching mission, And then he really appreciated that. So he asked me, what are these books about? So I asked him, have you ever, thought deeper about life? Why is there suffering? Who am I? And he can understand that these books were very special. And then he pointed at the Bhagavad Gita and he said, I've always wanted to read that book. So I handed it to him and he was flipping through the pages. And then he saw this word, that the material world is illusory. And then he said, I always thought that the material world was a matrix, He was saying something like that. And I said, it is. So he took the Bhagavad Gita and I asked him, are you a good cook? He said, I need to learn how to cook. So I gave him higher taste. And I said, do you understand the process of karma and reincarnation? He said, no. So I gave him coming back. Next thing he knew, he had like 4 books in his hand, So he gave a donation and then he went on his way. Actually, the preaching opportunity in Hawaii is so wonderful, During their Sunday feast, most of their guests were all Western body. And they had, questions. The unfortunate thing is that they don't have many devotees there that can preach during the Sunday feast. So Maharaj asked me to set up a book table as they were lining up. And while they were lining up, I was calling them one by one, you know. For the restaurant, yeah, lining up for the restaurant. And there was some Mataji. She came towards me in a very challenging mood. She said, you know, I read Bhagavad Gita. I couldn't finish it. And I said, why? It's just always very gruesome, you know. So I asked her, you know, why do you think it's gruesome? And she said, oh, it's about a war, it's about battle. And I asked her, have you actually read it? And she said, yeah, I couldn't finish it. So I knew this Mataji was lying. And her friend, she was actually very interested, you know. And she took the Bhagavad Gita, and actually Maharaj was speaking about the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And she said, do you have 2 of these? I would like to purchase 2. So I unwrapped one of the sets, and I gave her 2 Srimad Bhagavatams. And then she was also looking at the teachings of Queen Kunti. And I said, the teachings of Queen, and I first gave a background that Queen Kunti is actually Arjuna's mother. And then the other lady that was challenging, she said, oh, this is his mother? And I said, yeah. And I said, all of her teachings are in this book. And she was actually a queen. And she was able to, what is it called? I explained to her that she was asking the right questions, you know. Why does God appear in this world like an ordinary person, you know? And although fear personified is afraid of Krishna, why is Krishna crying, you know, when he was being bound by Mother Yashoda? And then she was actually very intrigued by this. So she took 2 Bhagavatams, 1.1, and also the teachings of Queen Kunti. And then the other lady that said she read Bhagavad Gita, I gave her another Bhagavad Gita. I said, you should read this one. The one that you read, maybe there's a mistake, you know. And she said, sure, I'll try this one. And so for a devotee, when we honor prasadam, when we see the sun and the moon, when we smell the nice flowers, we can understand here is Krishna. We don't need to look very far. We don't need to wait till, you know, we get to heaven. And so yeah, this verse is very sobering because this canto starts describing Krishna's opulence and his creating power. So I'll tell some Sankirtan stories. The night we were distributing books, Bhakti Jason, he was getting the car. And I was pulling my cart, and I had, 4 books in my hand. And I asked this young man approaching me, I said, you look like a good reader. And then he asked, why do you need help reading something? I said, actually, I do. So I opened up the Bhagavad Gita, and I asked him to read a few verses. And then he said, what book is this? And I said, it's the Bhagavad Gita. And his name was Harim, so he's from, maybe Islamic background. And then he said, but I'm vegetarian, like that. So I gave him a higher taste, and I also gave him coming back. And he said, I know my religion doesn't teach reincarnation, but I think the concept of it is very interesting. So we were speaking like that. And then I invited him to the Govinda's restaurant, as well as their mantra hale on Thursdays. So he took the books, he gave a donation, and then he said, is it okay if I give you a hug? And I said, yeah, sure. I gave him a hug. And then he told me something very kindly, actually. He said, you're out here, and you're actually changing people's lives. And I told him I'm trying, and then he said, well, you changed my life, like that, just by our interaction. And then after him, there was this couple. They were heading towards my way, so I asked them, are you 2 best friends? Obviously they were a couple. So they started laughing and they said, yeah, they're actually from Los Angeles and they're trying to get away from the fires. And it was the Mataji's birthday the next day. So I told her, happy appearance day. This is what we say. And she really liked that. And as we were speaking, I also found out they were vegetarian. And I said, you know, instead of looking at these restaurants, you should come to our Govinda's restaurant. And then she said, I actually been to the Govinda's restaurant in LA, like that, to the temple. And he didn't know there was one in Honolulu. So I said, yeah, we have that, we have this. And he asked me, do you have Zelle? And I said, yeah, we have Zelle. The donation goes to the temple to print more books. And he gave a very generous donation, this, you know, random person. So I told the Mataji, I said, you know, for your birthday, I would like to upgrade your books. And, you know, Bhakti Victor, you guys know Bhakti Victor. He was there in Hawaii. He was there. And he wrapped these set of books, like maybe there's 10 of them. There's no big books. Their Bhagavad Gita is a very small books, like a pocket version, paperback. I don't think they print that anymore. And so it had like 10, 11, or 12 books in there, you know. So I took the 2 books back and I gave her that stack. And I said, now you guys are ready for an adventure, you know. So, and interestingly enough, he also asked if he can give me a hug, you know. So I gave the Prabhu a hug, a second person. And yeah, so he gave me a hug, and then he said, you know, this is the last place we would expect to get wonderful books, you know, in Honolulu. And I said, this is the last place I would thought I would meet nice people like you guys. So the interaction was nice. And then Bhakta Jason arrived and we packed everything up in his car and then we went back to the temple. And when we got back, Vishwambar Prabhu, he was able to save a nice plate of kettle popcorn, you know. So we had that before we took rest. Okay, that's the best I can do. Thank you for your time and attention. Are there any questions or comments or reflections? Anyone online?
What is a devotee supposed to do when somebody comes up to them and says, can you pray for my mother? Or sometimes devotees, they...
Can you get the mic, Chad, please? Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, what is the devotee supposed to do? How are they supposed to respond when someone comes up to them and say, and they ask the devotee, can you pray for my mother, or can you pray for my father, or whoever? Or sometimes, you know, initiated devotees, it's not very uncommon actually. It's very common. Initiated devotees, they say, can you pray for my parents or whoever? Or, I don't know, maybe there's a difference when the person's a devotee. Say, can you pray for my devotee mother? Can you pray for my... So what are we supposed to do?
There's nothing wrong with praying. And Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita. People that are in distress, when they come to Krishna, they're considered to be pious. And we should, you know, show some sympathy and, you know, kindness. So I would also pray, you know. Some devotees, they also tell me, please pray for my health, you know, that I can continue to serve more, you know. So there's nothing wrong with praying. And just to show compassion, you know, we pray for them. Even like in the Sunday feast, you know. Dayanidhi Prabhu, he's expert at that, you know. Can we chant one Maha Mantra for so-and-so, you know. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So I wouldn't go into like, you know, Prabhu, do you remember the philosophy? You know, we're not the body. I wouldn't do that. You know, I would just simply pray. You know, please, this soul's journey, please let him or her get closer to your lotus feet. You know, something like that. Triveda Prabhu, do you have something to add?
Well, if someone would ask me that if I was on the street, I would say, okay, let's pray together. Now, first I explained the Hare Krishna mantra, that it's a call to Krishna. Please engage me in your service. So we'll just, together we'll chant and pray that Krishna engage your mother, brother, whatever it is you're praying for, in his service. Because that's the most auspicious thing. You know, that means that you know, that's the greatest blessing they can have, even no matter what. So that's the way I would handle it. We'll pray together. We'll chant Hare Krishna together, with the intention of praying the Krishna to please bless my mother with, you know, inspiration to serve you.
Yeah, I wouldn't deny praying with them or for them. You know. Do you have something to add, Balaram Prabhu? No. Matthias?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of similar to that. And when devotees have like, I don't know, like something like material going on, and maybe they can get it out of their mind, like it's always like bothering them, then, and like some devotees pray for that, some devotees don't pray for like material things. But what do you do like if it's like just in your mind and you can like get it out of it? And then it's not like you came to Krishna conscious because you have any material desires. It's more that things come up, and then also, I mean, maybe you don't want to pray to Krishna for something material and you would feel like ashamed to do that. But at the same time, it's just like really bothering you, and you want to like just hold to Krishna and just ask him, I don't know, for guidance or for something, even though you know that at the end he's gonna arrange it.
Maharaj was explaining how there's some groups where, you know, they light up prayer flags, you know. They burn it, and then the ashes, they go to God, and, you know, hoping that God will hear them. But since Krishna is in our heart, he understands everything, you know. And praying, like I said, praying is a very wonderful and powerful process, you know. Someone once said that the Hare Krishna mantra is also a prayer. Yeah, Prabhupada said that. So there's nothing wrong with, you know, and also asking Krishna to please help me, you know. Anyone like to add to Matthias Prabhu's question?
Hare Krishna. What about if it's a devotee that's near the end of their life and they're not doing very well? Is it best for the devotee to really call out to Krishna and pray, and, you know, I mean, that someone else can, I guess, as Dravida Prabhu said, maybe pray or chant with them. But I mean, what about a devotee that's not doing well near the end of their life?
Well, death is painful. You know, that's nothing new. For me, I haven't really seen anyone transition, you know, leaving their body, but I have visited them before they're, you know, leaving, or, you know, a few days. I'm sure Dravida Prabhu or Dharma Setu Prabhu or even Balaram Prabhu has better, you know, answers. Would you like to share, Balaram, something?
So what should the devotee do if they're on their own, maybe too?
Are you talking about the one who's getting ready to leave the body, or the ones who are around him?
The one that is not doing well, and at some point in the near future will move it.
Well, all right. Well, if I understand properly, I might be missing something, but if a devotee is getting ready to leave their body, if you have other people around, and first of all, it could be seen as like a insensitive or I mean, yeah, in a sense, or kind of strange. Like, I remember we visited this person. He was, it was a very, like, he was at the end of his life, clearly. And, you know, there was no return for him. I mean, that was clear. But then his friends were bringing him balloons. Oh, get well soon, get well soon. It's just like, I don't know why they were, that was just strange, you know. So, you know, at one particular point, to like pray like that, it's just inappropriate. But then his friends were bringing him balloons. Oh, get well soon, get well soon. It's just like, I don't know why they were, that was just strange, you know. So, you know, at one particular point, to like pray like that, it's just inappropriate. But then his friends were bringing him balloons. Oh, get well soon, get well soon. It's just like, I don't know why they were, that was just strange, you know. So, you know, at one particular point, to like pray like that, it's just inappropriate. So they should just help that person be Krishna conscious, help that person, in that way. And also devotees who are getting ready to leave the body, if they have advance notice, that is, because it's not all the time everybody has advance notice. But if somebody has advance notice and they know they're getting close to that time, then they shouldn't. I mean, they shouldn't be in illusion and thinking, "Oh, let everybody pray for me," that I'll continue in my life. But they should just ask people to pray for them, in the sense of help, to pray in such a way that it will help them in this particular stage, be Krishna conscious. And sometimes devotees who do have advanced notice, they do say that to the public. They say, "Please don't pray for me for my continuation. There's no returning here. Please pray that I could think of Krishna." So I don't know if that.
And we can also see the examples like, Parikshit Maharaj, Bhishma Dev, Yeah. The section of Bhishma Dev's teachings to the Pandavas is amazing, He taught them how to, about government issues, how to rule the, kingdom, and also, the importance of thinking of Krishna at the time of death. Yeah. So we can pray for them that I hope you can think of Krishna when you're leaving your body. Yes, Saviro?
I was reading one very exalted devotee of ISKCON, and he told that our only qualification is that, like Srila Prabhupada prayed for us. It's not like, oh, we are doing our sadhana, or we are following 4 regs. This is our qualification. He told that no, it's our only qualification is that Srila Prabhupada prayed for us. And but at the same time, I just want to ask you, like, where should we make a distinction? If someone is coming for us to pray for them, but in another case there might be someone who is coming to gain some material material benefits out of our prayers. And probably after our prayer, they will forget, that they got the benefit and they forget Krishna. So, is there any harm, in that? Is there a loophole there? Like, or should we just pray every time someone comes and ask us something, or should we make a distinction that in this case I should be praying, and in this case I should not be praying?
What is that verse? Sarvakama.
Akamo sarvakamo?
Yeah. Yeah. Whether one is full of material desires, one who is after liberation, or one who has no material desires, they should still approach Krishna. Or if you want,
Yeah, so that is, they are praying directly to Krishna, but they are praying, to you to pray. So in that case,
Well, we can interrupt them and say, I'll pray for your mother or your father that they can think of Krishna, Yeah, like what Balaram Prabhu said, if they're on their, deathbed, we're not going to pray, I hope you get better, It's not proper, Not only are we cheating them or the person, it reminds me of Vidura, preaching very strongly to Dhritarashtra, He told him, your lungs are filled with mucus, your teeth are falling out, and you're living at the expense of those that you tried killing, So he encouraged him to try to renounce this world, Yeah, get out of the house, Bring your wife with you. Just kidding. But Yeah, whatever they may think in their mind, we know that the ultimate, or you can say best benediction is that they can come closer to Krishna. And they can be engaged in Krishna's service in their next life. We don't want to help them materially, we want to help them spiritually advance.
You're talking about people, like, not exactly getting ready to leave their body, you're talking about people before that.
Yeah.
Like, for example, let's say right now somebody comes to you and says, Aviril, can you please pray for...
Can you use the microphone, Prabhu?
Like if someone comes to you right now and says, Aviril, can you please pray for my mother? And it's just, you could sense that it's completely from the material point of view. The person's just materially attached to his mother, and there's no, it seems that there's no sense of like, higher sense there. It's just like, hey, my mother's suffering. Can you please pray for her well-being? Like, it's like kind of like a material thing. So then a devotee just kind of says, okay, I'll pray for your mother, but I pray that she lives and she gets Krishna's mercy. It's kind of, the devotee's just doing like a switch up there. Like he's not really praying like they're exactly expecting him to pray.
So this particular devotee, he came to me like few days ago, and the same devotee I think you are talking about.
Yeah.
And he asked me to pray, and then I told, like, are you chanting? Are you praying yourself? Then he said, oh yes, I chanted 2 rounds. And then somehow out of instinct I told, oh, 2 rounds is not even sufficient for you. Then how are you, like, how you will be praying for your mom? Then the next day he came, and I think he chanted 16 or 18 rounds in the evening. But and after that I prayed for him also, but at first I did not pray. But I was feeling guilty that why I did not pray at first. So I was like, oh, should we make any distinction? Like, is there a line to be drawn, to pray or not to pray?
Yeah, we can always pray. Sorry, one last thing. This bhakta I was with in Hawaii, he was kind of revealing his mind. He said, I was attached to some girl, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, just the thought of I may never have children, it makes me cry. And I told him the pastime of King Chitraketu, how he finally had a son after so many queens. And then the other co-wives of this queen, they were envious, and they poisoned the child. And when Narada Muni brought this child back, the first thing he asked was, whose parents? Whose son am I? I've had so many parents in different species. So when I told this devotee that, he was like, "Wow, thank you for telling me." And I told him, "Sorry, I don't know how else to help you, but to understand that the soul is eternal, and we've had many families even before this, So he said, thank you for telling me that. So then he kind of had maybe second thoughts. Okay, I went over time. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.